he told me a couple things that I just want to run by you just for confirmation. Um, and he basically said like, so I spoke to him about moving the exam. And he's very understanding about a lot of things, like everything. But what he was saying is like, technically, right now you're overworking yourself, or not overworking, but like you're only doing MCAT. And so he's like, you should try to maybe take the exam, like go all out the next, whatever, 3 weeks. Take the exam in January, then at least you know what it's like to be like there and taking the exam. And if you don't do as well, which is likely, um, then you can at least have a reset in February and start studying again for retake. But I explained to him that there's no point of taking like, yeah, okay, I'll see what the testing environment is like, but like it's way more of a risk retaking it and then also not doing as well. I just want to hear your opinion on the fact like that we're moving it, just so I could kind of relay the information. He's like understanding. It was just his input. He's like, let me know what Shane says.
Um, so yeah, most like people, including myself, take it more than once. So that's something you could absolutely do. Um, I would just say that either we have you take it in January and worst comes to worst, you'll have to retake it. But that means you're gonna go like really hard up until January, and then maybe you can have a little short break until you get your score back, and then you can get back to it. Um, Either that or push it back to March. Do your best to study for it in March, which will be less intensity compared to if you're taking it in January. But in March, let's say that worst case scenario, you get a score that is not what you want, then you get to retake it worst case scenario in like let's say May. So I think that uh that your dad is bringing up an option which is retaking that is definitely something to think about, but I would say that it's probably you'll be in a better position to do that retake if you take it in March. So let's say scenario one is studying a lot to take it in January, getting a score, and retaking it in March, or studying with a lower level of intensity, but you'll get like a lot more practice tests done to take it if you take it in March, and worst case scenario, you retake the March one in May.
Yeah.
So I think that because if you take it in January, right, you only have enough room in your schedule to take like maybe three or four tests tops, and you'll probably end up using the AMC tests. Whereas if you take it in March, you will have taken 10 Altius exams and the two AMC ones. So I think that your father brings up a good point in that you can retake it, but I think you'd be in a better position to retake it in March compared to taking it in January and then retaking it in March. Does that make sense? Like,
Yeah, yeah. That's what I told him.
hmm
I just want to run it by you.
yep,
Honestly, though, I mean, I really, really hate like having to think this way, but
yeah,
I just think that like if for some reason March doesn't work out, and like I will try to really, 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 I will try my best to make sure it does. But if it doesn't work out, like I don't know, I feel like there could be another scenario where I just take another gap year and study all summer again. Because I had
yep,
a friend that did that, and she ended up taking 2 gap years unexpectedly, but she
yep,
improved 9 points on her retake.
yep. That's typically what I see happen. Like, because there's no hurry to take it January compared to March, there it does make sense to take it in May because if you are applying, when applications start in June, then if you take it in May, you do the best that you can, and worst case scenario, you have to retake it, which means that you'll be studying that summer to probably take it in September or something like that. So I would prefer, like, if it was me, like to do it that way, to study with it with the intention of taking it in March, which ensures that you complete 10 Altius full lengths, and then I think it was like two of the AMC full lengths, which will put you in a really, really good position to take it in March. And if it doesn't turn out your way, you could take it again in May. And if you do well in May, then you get to, well, if you do well in March, you get to apply it in time. If you do well in May, you still get to apply in time. If the May score isn't what you want, you can study over the summer and see how you do in like September or something like that. So I think that would be the best. So I think going planning on taking it in March will ensure that you get all of those practice tests done. And worst case scenario, you have to retake it in May, which still means that you get to do it in time for applications. Worst case scenario, May isn't what you want. The score that you get in May isn't what you want. Then you get, the summer to study for it.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. I want to get like I hate talking hypotheticals because like I haven't even taken the March exam. But what I was saying though is that like this test has just overtaken like everything in terms of like social life and enjoying my last year of college and doing things that I like to do. Like I mean I exercise and whatever, but I barely see anyone except my roommate because I'm studying. What I was saying is like if March doesn't work out, I
Then
just
just
I might potentially
do it in the
not
summer.
exactly
And
because I
then
think
that last semester, like enjoying life, enjoying.
exactly like March to May just take off.
Yep.
And then I would just go hardcore again from once I graduate until, August. But once again, that's a hypothetical.
Yep.
That's just what I meant. Because I think from what I hear, retaking it 3 times is a big red flag.
Big red flag. I mean, well, it depends, right? If you retake it 3 times and your score doesn't really improve, sure, red flag. But if you end up getting a really high score, I don't think they're gonna really care like how many times you retake it or not. Um, so it's okay. Let's do that. Let's have it, scheduled for March. We're gonna go all out with, all the Altius tests and all that stuff. And whatever happens, right? Uh, you're not gonna be like worst case scenario, you take it, you study over the summer for it. Um, but that means that, yeah, May is not going to be when you take it, so you get a chance to enjoy the rest of your uh semester.
And also just not rush,
Yeah.
um, not rush another, you know,
Yeah, we
test.
can have you do like soft skills during like,
Yeah.
March and May where you just read, the New Yorker or whatever, Harper's Magazine and things like that. Build that reading skill. And yeah, I think that works.
Okay.
Mhm.
Anyways, for now, yeah, as I said, we'll focus on March. But
Yep.
okay. So one other thing I want to tell you before we get started, I only 5 minutes for the passage. But I know you say not to do any of the Q packs, but because my physics is really lacking, what I was thinking about doing is doing the physics Q pack, just those 120 questions, seeing what I get wrong and supplementing that with the Berkeley Review book.
Mhm.
Just to brush up on physics as and also I might do like some of the chemistry QPAC stuff and then do the section bank volume too.
Yeah, there's a lot of really good physics like discretes on Jack Weston. They have like physical discrete, I think 30 of them.
Finished all of them. Finished all
You finished all the physical
of
discretes?
them. I think so. Let me recheck, but
Yeah, because there's chemistry discretes, physical discretes, thermochemistry discretes. I see like a ton of these. Um, so yeah, there's a lot of those.
oh wait. Okay. I finished the AMC style passages for physics, but I haven't done discretes.
Yep. So yeah,
Okay.
down to AMC style discrete questions and click on CP. You're gonna see a ton of like it'll show you like chemistry set 9, chemistry set 5, physical discrete set 20, physical discrete set 22, etc. So all of those I think will be great practice for you to do. Because when it comes to like the math problems and stuff, it's like you can only get better by literally doing the problems and practicing.
Okay. Yeah. I'll do that then. That's the plan until next Saturday. Next Saturday, I'm gonna take the Altius and I'm gonna start taking them every week.
Mhm. Got it.
Okay. So this passage comes from the AMC full length 2 exam.
Okay.
All right. So get started. Cystic fibrosis is a common genetic disease in humans. CF is caused by mutations of the cystic fibrosis transmembrane conductance regulator gene. Um, IC transmembrane, maybe. What you tell me when you see transmembrane, you always right away think, hydrophobic amino acids. So I don't know. But yeah, CFTR gene is found on an autosome. Okay, so I know an autosome is it's the opposite of a germ cell.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
So an autosome is anything that's not a sperm or egg cell. And from what I remember, if there's a mutation on an autosome, we can't transfer that mutation to our offspring. Only if there's a mutation in a sex cell can we transfer to an offspring.
How many pairs of autosomes do you have?
Um, 23,
Try again.
46.
Try again. 23 includes that sex chromosome.
So
22.
22. Okay. Okay.
And yep, good.
Uh, the most common mutation in the CFTR protein, delta F508. So delta means mutation.
It could
And
be a little bit more.
mutation at a
So
certain.
it actually they use the delta sign because it represents deletion.
Okay.
Oh, and they tell you after, but without looking at that, delta F is phenylalanine, right?
Mhm.
At the 508th position, delta means you delete it at that position.
Okay.
Hmm.
Um, Individuals homozygous for this allele exhibit CF. Okay. It's well, yeah, okay. They
What?
they didn't tell us if it's like dominant or recessive yet, right?
Uh, they say you exhibit CF if you're homozygous for it, which would,
Well, then that yeah, that I guess we can infer it's recessive.
yep.
Okay.
And What type of mutation is this?
Like an autosomal mutation?
Um, I mean like what
Like a deletion. You just,
sure.
I
And
mean, it gets deleted and then there's a frame shift.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's and frame shift mutations are really bad because they mess up the reading frame, right?
Yeah.
Um, now, okay, cool.
Okay. One hypothesis is heterozygote
Wait,
superiority. Oh,
you,
sorry.
yeah.
Yeah. Uh, in some populations, the frequency of delta F508 allele is as high as 0.05, leading researchers to investigate why this harmful allele is so common.
What do they when they say this frequency? What are they like? What are we thinking of?
We're thinking of the Hardy-Weinberg equation.
Yep.
Um,
Would that be
now,
yeah?
so when we have for alleles, it's p plus q equals 1.
Good.
And yeah, p squared plus 2 pq plus q squared equals 1 is for populations, for people.
Yeah, for genotypes then, right?
For genotypes, yeah. And so that means in this case, it's referencing the p squared equation. Uh,
Is
allele and then q squared is 0.05.
wait, this so the frequency of alleles is just the p plus q equals 1,
Uh,
right? But the p squared plus 2pq plus q squared equals 1 is for the individual genotypes.
yeah.
So in order to exhibit CF, what would like would that be p? Would it be q? Would it be p squared? Would it be 2p cubed? Would it be q squared?
Um, it would be the allele is q,
Hmm.
and someone that has, well, you have to be homozygous,
Good, good.
so it's like q squared.
Yep. So you would just take q, which is 0.05, and square it, right?
Yeah.
Good.
One hypothesis is heterozygote superiority. On this hypothesis, individuals heterozygous for delta F508 would have increased resistance, type 4 fever.
Does that remind you of anything?
What?
What
In
you just said?
in sickle cell disease and malaria?
Yeah.
Yeah. You know where I read that actually? In the Saladin book.
In what book?
Saladin physiology book.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Read about it in the, but I also learned about it in the class. But yeah, I recently read about it in the yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Cool.
okay. Um, the causative agent of typhoid fever is the bacterium Salmonella typhi. Okay. S causative agent. Okay. S typhi enters the body via contaminated food or water, and then crosses the epithelial cells of the small intestine. CFTR has been shown to be a major epithelial cell receptor for internalization of S typhi in the gastrointestinal system. Okay. Human epithelial cells expressing delta F508 CFTR ingest fewer S cyphi than do epithelial cells that express wild type CFTR.
Okay, maybe
Um,
type or write in a CFTR proportional to
yeah.
hyphy hyphy internal epithelial internalization. Okay.
Wait, so one over that, right?
Um
Oh, wait, sorry. But yes, but the delta is one over S typhi.
yeah, okay, I'll do it like that. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. In addition, an antibody specific for the first extracellular domain of human CFTR inhibits the uptake of S type E. Okay. But that would be a proportion, right? Wait, what? Intellectual. Yeah.
Okay. So if you have an antibody for CFTR, you're gonna have less S typhi entering through your epithelial cells.
Yeah. Okay. Diminished levels of CFTR in delta F508 may decrease the heterozygous susceptibility to S type infection.
All right, in parentheses, I'm gonna put well wait. Um delta sorry, okay, whatever. Um
Delta 1 over susceptibility or 1. Wait, susceptibility means they're more likely to get infected.
mhm.
So they're less likely to get infected.
Yeah.
1 over S type. Is that what it's saying?
Heterozygotes. Okay, here, I'll just do this. Because if you're heterozygous for CFTR, for the deletion of CFTR, you have less typhi in the uh being taken in.
Okay.
Mhm.
So the selective advantage of delta F508 allele would help explain the high incidence of CF in some populations.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yep.
Selective advantage of 508. Okay.
Yep.
So if you're heterozygous for delta 5 F508, then you don't have CF, but you are resistant to typhoid fever. Wait, you're a carrier of CF? I mean, you're a carrier of the mutation, but
Yep.
you don't actually have CF, but you're also resistant to typhoid fever.
Yeah, my bad. I wrote
So,
delta CFTR, but heterozygous for del F508 less S typhi. I'll put in like whatever uptake. Okay.
yeah. Assume that S type immediately enters the bloodstream from the small intestine. Of the following, which would be the first major organ that bloodborne S type would encounter? So, just my reasoning here, like I just thought that because the small intestine is connected to the large intestine, um, it enters the bloodstream from the small intestine, and so I just thought it would right away see the large intestine.
Well, if the large intestine is connected to the small intestine, the bloodstream part we wouldn't need, right?
True.
So now, okay, so what can we get rid of?
What can we get rid of? Pancreas.
So I was gonna say so like stomach, because using your logic, if the small intestine connected to the large intestine, like there's not going to be anything going from the small backwards into the stomach, right?
Yeah.
No.
So wait, it goes stomach, then large intestine, then small intestine.
You mean stomach, small intestine, large
Small
intestine?
intestine, large, yeah.
All right. Now, then the logic of large intestine would make sense in things that stay in the small intestine to then go to the large intestine. But if it's entering the bloodstream from the small intestine, right?
Mhm.
It's not going to make sense for it to go back into the large intestine, right?
Right, yeah.
Now, if it's entering the bloodstream, our bodies have a way of protecting ourselves from, because all right, if from the small intestine, if it entered into the bloodstream and then it goes into our circulatory system, we're pretty susceptible to bad things that might be in there. So maybe after something gets taken up by the bloodstream, it can go through some type of portal.
Yeah, I get it. It's liver.
Hmm.
Because so that's the hepatic portal system.
Yep.
And the liver detoxifies
Yep.
drugs, but also blood.
Yeah. It detoxifies drugs, but how do the drugs get there?
The blood.
And a portal system is essentially kind of like a portal. Like it doesn't have to go through the heart and all that stuff.
Okay.
So now, okay, so the fact that they said bloodstream indicates to us that it's not going to be large intestine, right?
Yeah.
Um Now what about pancreas?
Okay. So pancreas, um, the pancreas just
Yep.
secretes different digestive enzymes.
Yeah, which can
Um,
then enter into wherever they do their thing, but nothing actually happens at the pancreas. The pancreas secretes stuff, but nothing actually happens there,
mhm,
right?
yeah.
There you go.
Pancreas also secretes,
The
it
bicarb.
creates bile.
I think the liver
Not,
makes bile and the gallbladder stores bile.
okay.
Um, the pancreas makes all like it makes glucagon, it makes insulin, it makes like even more, like it makes a I think it makes some type of like a basic kind of thing that helps reduce the acidity of the acidic chyme that goes from the stomach to to the small intestine. It can also secrete that.
Okay.
Yeah, it also secretes bicarbonate, which looks like that, right?
Yeah.
So in the presence of hydronium, it'll take it to turn it into this, right? And that can reduce the acidity.
Repeat. No, I repeat that. Sorry.
Oh yeah, so the So yeah, in our stomachs, we have acid for more than one reason. One reason is it kills bad stuff. Another reason is that it activates the proteases that break apart peptide bonds. Um, so when the chyme is what it's called, that's acidic, goes from the stomach to the small intestine, like it doesn't want to stay acidic because the small intestine and the rest of the gastrointestinal tract is not very uh, impervious to that acid. So what happens is when that acidic chyme enters into the small intestine, bicarbonate from the pancreas also enters in, and the bicarbonate neutralizes that acidic chyme so that the digested meal is not going to be acidic uh, as it enters into the small intestine.
Okay, I get it. Yes. And that's like the whole thing with like secrete and CCK that like release the pancreatic juices
Mm-hmm.
and the bicarbonate and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Researchers have noted that chlora chloramphenicol, a commonly used antibiotic, is becoming less effective in treating typhoid fever. The best explanation for this observation would be selection. Um, all right.
What would cause an antibiotic to not work that well anymore?
The bacteria is resistant.
Yeah.
Um, so let's just see.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Because A and B are talking about,
okay, I put A. So yeah, what are they talking about?
oh yeah, so heterozygote, homozygote, these are humans, right?
Hmm.
Like the homozygote would have whatever, the, you know, cystic fibrosis or something, right? Um, and the heterozygote is going to be a little have increased resistance to typhoid fever. Um, but if they're saying that chloramphenicol is an antibiotic that's used to treat typhoid fever, and this passage says typhoid fever is caused by this bacteria, we want to look for an answer that has something with the bacteria in it. And A and B certainly don't say anything about bacteria, so A and B are out. And let me look at D again. Again, D is talking about like human stuff. So yeah, so D is out. So yeah, it's exactly what you said. Bacteria can gain resistance. That's a big kind of topic. Uh, so that's what you see and see.
Damn, I overthought it
Hmm.
like crazy.
What
Wait,
name
hmm?
three functional groups that are likely present in chloramphenicol?
Oh, chlorine,
All right, what else?
hydroxyl OH,
What
phenyl
else?
group, benzene ring.
Yeah, good.
Um, sorry, what was it? Why wasn't it B again?
Well, A, B, and D are all talking about like the
Oh yeah.
human gene and stuff, but
Yeah.
it's the yeah, it's the bacteria.
Okay. So I think I know why I got this wrong, but G542X is another CFTR allele if a female heterozygous for G542X bears a child fathered by a male heterozygous.
Yeah, I think you know what they're doing here.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny because when I was reading this,
Huh?
I'm like, I feel like they're trying to get me. Like I feel like
Yep.
if they got me, even though I already knew because I made the same mistake
Yeah.
on the first fulling, which is
Hmm.
it's like, yeah, but now I know. Like now I know. And it should be zero, right?
Hmm. Because it's in an autosome, right?
Yeah. Okay, good. Good. Yeah.
Wait, hold on. Are they saying
Yeah, they are. What?
why are these explanations saying like not what? Wait, why isn't it? Why is it acting like all this other stuff matters? Am I wrong here? Um,
Yeah, I mean now I would want to double check. Um, yeah, that's so weird.
what the F? Hold on. Apparently, we might be confusing autosome with somatic cell.
Yeah, we're on the same thread.
Yeah, right? Ah, that's annoying.
Wow.
Okay, let me see.
Yeah.
Male heterozygous for this bears a child fathered by a male heterozygous for the one that we talked about. Um, okay, so the one that we talked about, the Del F508, um, if you are homozygous for it, you exhibit CF. They're telling us that neither parent has CF, so the father should, let's see, homozygous for that allele, given that neither parent has that. Female heterozygous for it, male heterozygous for the other one. Mother is heterozygous for that. No information about the father. Father is male heterozygous for that, and not. for that other thing, probability that the child will be homozygous for the G. Okay, so we know that the female is heterozygous for the G542X. We know that the male is heterozygous for the del F508. We don't know if the male is heterozygous or homozygous for the G542X. And they're asking what's the probability that the child would be homozygous for the G52X allele. Given that the female is heterozygous for the G542X, that means that the father would have to have that would have to have a
It's honestly hard for me to follow along. I think can we like write it?
write it.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. So G542X is another CFTR allele. A
Mhm.
female heterozygous for this gets some child. Male heterozygous for this produces our child. They're saying for the child, if the child or the probability that the child would be homozygous for it. So we know that the child is getting one of this G allele from the mother. In order for the child to be homozygous for it, the child needs to also get a G542X allele from the father. That's what we need. Now, we don't, we're told the father is a male zygous for the F508 allele and not for the G5 something. Are we being told that? Male heterozygous for the F thing. Neither parent has CF. But how are they telling us that the male does not? I guess, okay. So I think what they want us to do is think that if you are homozygous for the G542X allele, that you should have cystic fibrosis. And if neither parent has cystic fibrosis, they should not be homozygous for the G allele, which means that at most the child can get, uh, can be a carrier or heterozygous for the G allele, but there's 0% chance that the child would be homozygous
Recessive.
for the G allele. The G allele, one of it comes from the mother, and we would need the other one to come from the father. I'm having an issue in relating the G542X to cystic fibrosis. I think that's the issue that I'm having here.
Mhm.
But what they're telling us is in order, they're saying this and not for this. I don't know how we know that. Let's see what this says. Mother is unaffected. And they're telling us that this G542X is something that causes CF, apparently. Well, okay, you know what? The passage says that CF is caused by mutations in the CFTR gene, right? So if
Mhm.
this is just another mutation, I guess we can reasonably say that this can cause cystic fibrosis if you're homozygous for it. So, so if you're homozygous for either like for let's just say this, if you're homozygous for CFTR mutation, you're going to get cystic fibrosis. And if you're homozygous for the G allele, which is just a CFTR allele, you should have cystic fibrosis. I think
Like
they're,
homozygous recessive?
yeah, I think they're trying to tell us that mutations in CFTR cause cystic fibrosis. And so G542X is a CFTR allele. And if there's a mutation there, uh, and you're homozygous for it, you should exhibit CF. I think that's what that's what we can take away from this.
But they're two different things. And so what you're saying is like, no matter what, because like, so the female is heterozygous for it, and she only gives like one half.
Yeah.
The father gives one half. So no matter what, if it's recessive, homozygous recessive, the child will only get a lowercase a,
Hmm.
only from the mom.
Yeah.
So if it was dominant, then just getting from the mom, then they could have it, right?
Um, so I think CF happens if you have a mutation in a CFTR allele, and this G542X is a mutation because this is the allele without the X. With the X is a mutation. And if you have a mutation in a CFTR gene and you're homozygous for that mutation, you should have CF.
Yeah.
So the mother can at most give one of the G gene mutation to the child. The father can only give one of the F mutation one. But if they're asking about the probability of the child having two of the GX mutation, that is going to be, there's a 0% chance for that because we're getting one from the mother. And if the father had this plus this, the father should exhibit CF.
You mean the child?
The father.
Oh, well, won't the child also have CF?
Yeah.
Like the child will definitely have CF, or likely.
Yeah. Because what I created this situation where
Yeah.
the father has CF here.
Mhm.
So if the mother just has a regular F508 non-deletion, then this would lead to cystic fibrosis, regardless of what these are. Meaning we could have the G542X plus the del F508. This is cystic fibrosis. Or we could have the G542X from the mother again and the G542X from the father. Both of these would result in cystic fibrosis. But since the father does not have cystic fibrosis, the father can't have this. So you're not going to get the GX mutation in both.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which of the following best describes phenotype of individuals heterozygous with one delta F508 and one wild type CFTR allele? Okay.
So, yeah.
Well, I mean, they're heterozygous for it. Um, they're heterozygous for it. Then they have CF.
Do they? What do you need to have CF?
Oh wait, homozygous. Sorry, I don't know how I misread that. They don't have it, and they have one wild type.
Yep.
Um,
And they have one del.
which means they do have they're susceptible. I mean, more resistant type like you.
Yep.
Wow, yeah, I think I misread it on that them too. Oh my God.
Ah.
Yeah, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Jeez. Okay. Um, okay. I had maybe one more question real quick. So let's wait, do you see this? This it's like a classic Doppler question. Um,
In order to determine the relative speed of approach of a sound source by Doppler measurement, three of the following items of data are necessary, which is not required. Um, well, you don't need the distance, right? It's not in the equation, right? You need the speed of sound. You need the frequency of the emitted sound. That's just the source frequency. Um, and to find the speed of like, you know, the source moving or whatever, you would also need the observe. Yeah, the distance is not, yeah, isn't even in that equation, right?
you're right. Yeah, got it. And then this.
Okay. This is the odd one. So we use that type of harmonic. Let's see.
This
Oh,
one
yeah.
would be like, would it be like this? One end, open on one end. Is that how it'd be like?
I don't really know what this is. It looks like you drew like a sine curve and then you wrote something with one end. Okay.
But is that what it would look like?
This?
Like, you know how for the resonance, it's like if it's open on two ends, it's like that.
Uh-huh.
Like this is open on two ends.
Let's say we have open or close on two ends. You'll get something like this. And
Yeah.
the reason that we use the 2L is because all you need are two of these, because this one is the first half and this is the second half of that sine curve.
Okay.
But if it's open, closed, or odd or whatever, it's just going to be like this, meaning antinode on one side, node on the other side, rather than here where you have nodes on both sides or antinodes on both sides, right? So this is why L, this is L, this is L, and it's 2L for the entire wavelength. But if you had, this is gonna look a little weird, but it looks it looks like this. All right, I'll just do this. It's not gonna look right in terms of like open close or whatever, but I just want to show you that for open closed, oops, you're gonna get a quarter of a wavelength. So it's kind of like that.
Yeah.
So that's why you need, so L, 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 you need four of these lengths to give you that wavelength.
Mhm.
Whereas for the even, you just need two, right?
Okay.
So, okay, consecutive resonances occur at wavelengths of 8 meters and 4.8 meters in an organ pipe closed on one end. What is the length of the organ pipe? Resonances occur at length is equal to n lambda over 4. L is the pipe length, lambda is the wavelength, and n is going to be 1, 3, 5. So, um, what is the length of the organ pipe? Okay, let's see. So, wavelength. Wait. Okay, so if n 4 point,
I I just tried plugging in like the wavelengths I got, and that obviously didn't work, and that it was faulty. So yeah, I have no idea how to approach it.
yeah. So let's do this. I'm gonna, okay, I'll do that. So, okay, for the 8 meter wavelength, I'm gonna do that. So length is equal to n times 8 over 4, which gives me 2n. And if I used 4.8, which is annoying, 4.8, length is equal to n times 4.8 over 4, like 5 over 4, which is 1.25. Okay. What is the length of the organ pipe? Length of the organ pipe. Um, hmm. If the wavelength decreases, the frequency goes up. The fundamental frequency is the lowest frequency, which means it's the highest wavelength. So maybe the 8, that's the highest wavelength, smallest frequency out of the two that they give us. If that was the case, you would get 2n Okay. N could be 1, it could be 3, it could be 5. This was this. Okay, let me try this. 4 point, hold on, 8. Okay, I don't know what to do with the 4.8, but for the 8, so first of all, does it make sense that the higher the wavelength, the lower the frequency?
Yeah.
The lower the frequency, the lower the N value.
Okay.
Because your frequency is going to be NB over 4L. So
Hmm.
frequency is proportional to L. I mean, sorry, proportional to N. So, which is inversely proportional to wavelength. So if 2N, I get 2N is equal to L, that means that my L should be divisible by 2. And these N values can only be integers. And the only integers are these. So,
6.
oh, because it can't be 8
Hmm.
because that would mean N is 4.
Hmm.
And it can't be these non-integer values. I guess, yeah, I would choose 6.
So I don't know if it's 6. Let's see. Okay. So, okay. A, a resonance is a frequency then.
Go
Like,
say that again?
so it like for F equals NV over 4L. Like, what does that?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I'm just trying to understand how you got to L equals 2N. Where'd you substitute 8?
Oh, yeah. So, sorry, I used this equation.
Hmm.
L is equal to N lambda over 4. Lambda
Oh, wait. Yeah.
could be 8 meters or 4.8 meters. So if lambda was 8 meters, N 8 over 4 gives me 2N.
Hmm.
Now, if N is 1, that would give me 2. If N is 3, that would give me 6. If N is 5, that would give me 10.
Hmm.
Now, that means that these so like that means that since N must be an integer, it would rule out these values.
Hmm.
These are not integers. And between 6 and 8, if N was, or rather, um, if the length was 8 meters equals 2N, N would have to be 4, but we know N can't be 4. It can only
Hmm.
be an odd number. So if it's 6 is equal to 2N, N would be 3, and that's something that N could be.
Okay. They did it differently, but
They did it like this. 4L is equal to N times 8, and then equal to N, oh, I see, N plus 2 times 4.8. I see, I see, I see.
okay.
So we know that, yeah, we know that that the 8 wavelength is going to be a lower uh resonance because if it has a higher wavelength, it has a lower frequency, and the lower frequency will have a lower N value.
Mhm.
So they did N times 8 and then N plus 2 times 4.8, just to indicate, because we don't know if 8's the fundamental frequency or not, but if we say it's N and 4.8 can be the next one, it can just be N plus 2 then, yeah.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it seems like these aren't too bad, so
Well, yeah, this one wasn't too bad. Some of them are just like it's such false like sense of, mastery because some of them it's like they're just like velocity is this, frequency this. What's the wavelength? Like, it's
um do they ask any questions on like momentum?
I have not encountered momentum yet, but I've only done half of it. I'm gonna finish the other half tomorrow. So,
Okay. From
um,
what I see, then it seems like this would be fine to do. Um,
yeah.
uh, but if you see anything on momentum, that's something that they stopped testing.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
so yeah, you would
That's good to know.
worry about that. But all right, I'll.
Um, yeah, also, random question. What are you gonna start calling the videos? M March boot camp? I was thinking that the other day.
That's
It's
good.
kind of sad.
Uh,
So yeah.